that if you grew up watching the show Unsolved Mysteries, this topic was covered in Season 9, Episode 6. So, that being said, I'm kind of excited to take the ball and run with it. So, let's get right into it.
Hey, Michael Vsauce here.
This all begins on August 7th,
Word?
1994, in the small town of Oakville, Washington. A location that is
That would've
known
been
for its
funny.
heavy rainfall. However, this morning, the rainfall was a little bit different. In the early parts of the morning, a downpour of gelatinous blobs had started to occur. The blobs were translucent in
Gelatinous
nature and not that large.
It's Bob
measuring
from Monsters
about
vs.
half
Aliens.
the size of a grain of rice.
Oh.
While the first downpour took place at around 3 a.m. on August 7th, it was
I'm just
reported that
kidding.
this had
I don't
occurred
have one.
over about 20 square miles over the course of 3 weeks at various times. As time would pass, many of the residents who were exposed to this type of bizarre rain had become violently ill.
Sick. My wife got sick. My daughter. Everybody that lived here got sick.
Everybody in the whole town came down with like a flu, only it was a really hard
Pansy
flu. It
Chris.
didn't last like 7 days, it lasted like 7
Huh?
weeks to 2 or 3 months.
And it's also worth noting that many of the local pets and farm animals in the area got sick and some end up passing away.
Aww.
One resident of Oakville at the time, Dottie Hearn, had stepped outside of her home, noticing that the gelatinous blobs were everywhere. She ended up picking some of the substance up.
Why
but
would you even
later
do that?
Day, she had been found lying on her bathroom floor. She was conscious, but not in good condition.
Pale.
She
My
got
mom
pregnant.
had been vomiting. She had extreme vertigo. She complained that she had difficulty with her vision. Her vision was blurring.
Subsequently, Dottie Hearn was sent to the hospital after coming in contact with the blobs and suffering their ill effects, such as dizziness and nausea. Sunny Barcliff, the daughter of Dottie Hearn, had also gotten sick by handling the blobs, and the symptoms that occurred from 4 to 8 weeks. This rightfully called into question whether the blobs were some sort of toxic substance, and over the years, many theories about what the blobs may have actually been have come into question. With the mystery here being, what was the substance? Was this some explainable phenomenon, or was this something far more nefarious?
Custom Dashy games.
The
What up,
doctor that
Miss
treated
Dashy?
Dottie Hearn for her symptoms concluded that she had suffered from an inner ear condition, and she herself acknowledged that the appearance
What's
of the
up?
blobs
It's
in her
Dashy,
condition
and welcome
may
back.
have been a mere
Back
coincidence. A comment that Sunny made
to
in an
another
interview
episode.
in 2015 indicated that Dottie had spent 4 days in the hospital. When released, her doctor stated that she didn't know
Okay,
what
so
was
last
wrong with
time
her,
we fucked up
and
this old
simply
lady
stated it was
and her
some
daughter.
type of virus. In addition to elaborating on the length of her hospital stay, she also noted that the inner ear condition that Dottie was treated for is usually reoccurring, but she has not ever had those symptoms again, making this initial coincidence far more unlikely.
Coincidence?
Now,
I
when Sunny
think not.
Barcliff had attended McCleary Hospital when her mother was getting treatment, she had brought a sample and asked if the doctor there was willing to do a test on it.
Right there.
And while it appears that all they did was look under a microscope, this is where a human white blood cell was supposedly found.
Ooh.
After finding the human white blood
Huh?
cell, this prompted the doctor there to come up with a theory. Perhaps the blobs were liquid waste droppings from a passing airplane. However, sometime after, the FAA was contacted about this idea, and they stated that the fluid waste from commercial planes was always dyed blue, and the blobs were translucent, so this didn't make any sense. However, this was the end of Barcliff's quest to get information on the material. First, she contacted the Washington State Health Laboratory and mailed a sample to a person who was assigned to the case by the name of Mike McDowell.
Uniform. There was no structure that we could see visibly or with a microscope. I set it up on various microbiological media and attempted to isolate bacteria.
Mike had studied the gel to see if anything would grow on it. It ended up producing 2 types of bacteria, which I will show on the screen now, but we will get more into these in a bit. For some reason, that could be a mistake. Unsolved Mysteries neglected to actually show what bacteria was found, so I want to go into more detail on that in a moment. In And getting back to Mike McDowell, his research would actually get cut short. However, it was believed after his initial studying that this was used to transport some form of virus or bacteria. However, some point after this discovery was made, the samples went mysteriously missing from the lab.
I mean, that's how COVID started.
Ooh. You know what's crazy? It is crazy to think about, like, this stuff and, like, stuff like this, like, it went mysteriously missing. And this nigga's, like, giving, Barely Sociable's giving it, like, no, like, not everybody to know about it. Nigga's risking his life, low-key. Like, imagine, bro, the CIA is, like, on his ass.
Oh.
They're like,
Bro,
he know too much. They like that. They say, like, he know too much.
Be like, bitch.
Probably.
You're thinking
He's on a watch list, most definitely.
Something I've realized after looking into this topic is that someone definitely knows what's going on here. The sample was actually sent around to a few different locations, and that is very much so.
One of them
despite
was
the
a
fact
Buc-ee's.
that one of the samples went missing. Another sample was taken
went to my house,
the Department
guys.
of Ecology,
Went to Christopher
where
Duran's
they
house.
determined that it was organic material, noting they did find a cell with a nucleus indicating that it was a biological
Where he
creation
fed it to his pet
that could've been
turtle.
a bacteria. However, no other further info was given. And almost a year later, after the blobs fell, Sunny took another sample that she had stored in a freezer to a private research lab. A microbiologist by the name of Tim Davis studied the sample and thought he had saw the remains of a eukaryotic, or a cell containing a nucleus within it. However, I will note this one seems to contradict a lot of the other findings, and I couldn't find much elaboration from Tim Davis or any public research. However, to this day, despite being sent to multiple labs, we've never gotten a definitive answer on why this substance fell over Oakville, Washington. And I also want to point out that Barclift herself has admitted that some information hasn't been released to the press. If you take a look online at many of the popular theories regarding this incident, the most popular that you will see is that many people believe that a bombing exercise had blew up a school of jellyfish, which then they evaporated into a rain cloud until they rained down upon Oakville, which was about 50 miles inland.
Why?
This theory was so popular in the
What?
community
How does that even make
since the
sense? Why jellyfish?
Bro, that's...
But why? Why Oakville? I mean, I nobody even know where the fuck Oakville is, but still, like,
I know, right? Where the fuck is that place?
they said Washington, but like, what?
Nigga.
I think people really have like creativity when it comes to this stuff. Like, how does this jellyfish theory even come out?
I know, dude.
Like, it hit a school of jellyfish. Okay, why did they decide to?
To which it evaporated them into the air.
If it's in Washington, where the fuck did the jellyfish come from? And how did it get in the air? How did the evaporation from it? I'm confused.
I got a new theory. People are idiots.
I believe that theory. I think that theory.
Yeah, no thoughts, head empty, Nintendo music.
Oh,
People
yeah.
are idiots.
They really are.
Close.
I think people are idiots.
That's the end of that theory.
Yeah.
Okay.
End theory. People are dumbasses.
They actually discussed in the town of Oakville about
Hopefully the next theory is pretty good.
However, this theory doesn't really hold up.
Yeah, no shit.
Especially once we start to get into the actual bacteria that was found.
Oh, the bacteria is the
And
reason why it doesn't
speaking of
hold up.
such,
Okay.
Since I am not a microbiologist, as a part of doing research for this video,
Barely
I got in touch with
educated
someone
this
with a formal
nigga.
background or a microbiologist PhD
This
student,
nigga's
and I
stupid.
asked him if he could take a look at all the evidence available on the case to try and help us make an educated and informed opinion on this mystery. Special thanks to Capsola on Twitter, as he was generous enough to volunteer his time as well as answer any questions I had about this. He even went above and beyond and included a full report
Looks like
with
pre-time
sources
skip
so I could
Julian.
understand his reasoning, even though I didn't understand the subject. Now, for the sake of this video, I will be summarizing the report. And what was found inside of the blobs were, number one, white blood cells, like we said, cells with no nuclei, which you can think of as bacteria or archaea. Then the other two bacteria that were
obviously.
observed by Mike were the two biocontrol agent bacteria. Both both of which are very common in controlling plant diseases. Now, as you can imagine,
Oh.
if this is meant to
Bro,
kill
plants can get
pathogens in
diseases?
plants, if
Yeah.
an animal were to ingest it, it probably wouldn't be the best thing for them, and it turns out that both of them are known to cause infection in immunocompromised patients. And furthermore, if this blob was just harmful to the touch, then it's also possible, Capsule theorized, that DMSO, a commonly used topical analgesic, could have been used to carry the cell culture of bacteria through organic tissue. This would mean that all you need to do is touch the blobs in order for that bacteria to get inside of you.
Jesus.
Now, something to consider is that this infection lasted 4 to 8 weeks, and let me remind you that this rain occurred 6 times over the course of 3 weeks.
Jesus.
Moving on, if you're wondering why gelatinous blobs would be used to carry the cell culture, if we're dropping something from a very high altitude, we definitely need that bacteria to survive the impact, and the gelatinous polymer containing the culture of bacteria would be the perfect vehicle. So this simply could have been testing some kind of substance to kill plant pathogens. But the only thing that seems to be inconsistent with the other findings was that one white blood cell. However, I will note the only time this was found was the initial test at the hospital, so perhaps it's worth taking with a grain of salt. And just like with any video, if there are any people with microbiology backgrounds who are watching this, I'm going to leave a link to the notes down below if you'd like to kind of double check them.
Oh, Chris,
But
go look
as
at it.
for now, I believe the
I got
conclusion
it.
that
I got
Capsule
it, guys.
came up with is highly likely a biotech company where government was testing a product, and if the government had some involvement here, that would perfectly explain why some of those samples went missing at that publicly funded laboratory. So was this simply a test gone wrong, or something far more nefarious? I'll leave that up to you.
Well, highly
This is
doubt
really
it because, I
sociable.
mean, like,
Have a good night.
nobody really died.
Yeah.
Yep.
But then it begs the question,
Motherfucker just lost it.
why can't they just test it in a lab?
I mean, that's what they did, but just
Why?
They
Huh.
lost the results.
No, but like I'm talking about like the gelatin thing, like on a plant. Like why couldn't they just do that somewhere, like in a garden? Why do they have to like use a whole buck tooth out of nowhere place? Oh, Christopher! Look, Christopher DeRin. They put an L. That sucks. They meant to put a D.
Mhm.
I'll sue them.
What?
I said sue them.
Yeah,
Okay.
sue them.
No, sue. So,
Yeah, that's what I said. Sue.
oh. So what do we think about this theory? I mean, this one.
This is
Bro.
weird.
It's very weird because it's like
Population's growth. Population control.
But it only
That's the
killed
word
one
out.
person. I mean, no, it didn't even kill her.
Well,
She just got sick.
population growth is weird. I
but
don't
it's
know.
like it's fucking weird because it like
Why Oakville?
this blob thing, how they just described it. She got sick just from fucking touching it. So it's like
Have you never read that Goosebumps book?
So, we think it's okay.
Honestly,
Oh.
I'm gonna be honest. I have no idea what the fuck was going on. It was really hard to follow.
It
Like,
was really hard to follow.
I understand she got sick from touching a blob, but like, where did the blob come from? I really do wish.
They said it
more,
was rain. Like it rained the blob. It said it rained the blob 6 times within a span of 3 weeks.
So it was coming down
Okay,
like it
but
was
what
hail.
causes it?
Oh fuck if I know.
But they said
All I
like,
know is that it just came from the sky.
the sky is falling.
The blob is angels confirmed.
It's just angels cummies.
Oh.
Now that's a theory.
That's a theory, alright.
And that's why we got sick, because we can't handle it. Ah, see, now
Where-
we're
So
getting somewhere.
angelic.
Now we're getting somewhere.
Now we're getting somewhere. Let's get it. Let's go.
Super Mario Odyssey. I don't remember the song in that game. Okay, so now what are we doing?
Hmm.
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either.
The Legend of the Bermuda Triangle. I watched it? Oh yeah, I have.
I'm probably just gonna go to sleep.
Okay.
Good night, boys.
I'm done with you. Girl, we done. It's through. Girl, we done. I hit that nigga for the work. I finished this. They be moving. Skirt, 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 skirt.